This is the Newsload.
Hi, I'm Carrie Anne, and I'm here with Newsload. And today I am so beyond excited. It's been forever being able to chat today with Ryan Horwood. Hello, Ryan. How are you?
Not bad. Are we good?
I'm pretty terrific. Thank you for asking. We went to Humber College together.
Long time ago now, yeah.
And I guess my first question is, do you feel that your experiences at Humber College, the Yuck Yucks comedy program, helped you in your comedy career?
I think it would, but I don't know if it helped me the way that I think a regular college program helps somebody be a plumber or something like that. I was actually just talking about this with Canada's probably premier host and one of the best headliners. We've got Brian Hatt, and it's my cat, and we were talking about it. I think it's just the community and the friends that you made moving forward, I think was probably the most important thing, because a lot of the things we learned, had you just thrown yourself into the mix, you probably would have learned in time anyway. But the friends and bringing that kind of a group of people together who are all like-minded was a real nice shot in the arm getting started, having a little community. So I think that's the best thing, is the friends.
Also the opportunity to have the open mics, to have the writing classes, the community. Did you feel that some of the guest speakers inspired you as well, like Joe Flaherty?
Yeah, actually, I was living illegally in the Humber residence over the summer. They just didn't know I was there, and I was in one of the rooms. So I lived there all summer, and then I ended up working for the program, just helping Joe Flaherty for a couple of weeks. So I got to admit, that was kind of cool hanging out with Joe and getting to know him on a personal level. Getting coffee together and stuff was a trip. Yeah, we talked about that as well, and I think like some of the names that jump to mind are like Andy Massingham, and I don't know where Andy Massingham is today, but like I was just saying, like I still think he's such a genius, and like he did a lot of our physical comedy stuff, but he was a student of Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin like nobody else. I mean, he had small moments from their films, worked out physically himself, like where he took something and went, I got to learn how to do that. I remember one of the things was sitting in a chair with a cup of coffee and then being able to roll out of the chair on the floor using his shoulder blades in the back of his neck. And then he would end up sitting upright, and he could do it fast enough where it wasn't coffee, but water. And in class, he could do it fast enough where he wouldn't spill the water. And I always thought that was something else. So yeah, there's like some of the teachers that we worked with, Larry Horowitz, of course, I think sometimes there's funny ways people give that guy the gears, but like at the same time, I think a lot of us are better off having that guy work with us as a stand-up teacher. He was a really swell guy. I have nothing but good memories of the time that I spent there.
Yeah, the shtick classes with Andy were pretty phenomenal, and the watching you guys wrestle and such were pretty impressive. It was a cool 2 years. I'm very grateful for my experiences through the program, and that's amazing hearing that you actually got to like hang out with Joe Flaherty. Like he spoke with us in the classes, but you got to like be his assistant, which is
Yeah, I got to
so
go and run and get him stuff,
yeah.
But it meant that I got to hear some stories I might not have heard and stuff, which was really cool. And like everything I would have learned in Andy's class, I actually got to use professionally after, because I played a character on a Disney like sitcom that was on Family Channel, and my character was nothing but pratfalls. So it was like, I would get exploded, or I'd be doing, these giant cartwheels and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And most of what I took from Andy's class, I would have used on that show. So yeah, good. It was good.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely worth it to take acting classes, to take, a little bit of encouragement, because we're kind of walking in blind. And as much as joke writing is good, there's also stage presence. There's physical parts to the joke that you can add to the stand-up experience, as well as like getting into movies and television through that. So
Yeah, when it comes to stand up, I always say that when you start, you're either a singer or a dancer. And I mean, like, dancer, you're just a born performer, and singer, you're an amazing joke writer. But it's not very often that somebody starts and they're both just naturally gifted at both, you know? So I think, like, you take your strong suit, you run with it, and then you hope to grow the other way. And I was always a much better performer than I was a writer. And I feel like it's only after all this time that your writing catches up a little bit. And then that's when you're really doing it.
So you work on film sets, you know, as your career. Are you part of the union?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm a what they call a permit, and just I've got all of my days now to be a union member. But when I was ready to do that, it was the actor and writer strike. So when that happened, they weren't taking packages to become a union member. But yeah, for 20 years I was on one side of the camera, and now when I'm not, you know, when I'm not doing shows and I'm not doing other things, I work as a grip. And I've worked on every season of Reacher so far, and a bunch of other shows, but like predominantly, like most days on those seasons. And Alan Richardson is what a specimen. He's also a super nice guy. So I don't know if there's any Reacher fans, but keep watching it because we have fun making it. We're going back to shoot season 4 in like the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We go back to start on that, so that'll be fun. But then I'm also just going to start auditioning again. So I walked away from acting purposely because I had to conquer some booze. And in August, I'm 5 years sober, and I think it's just about time where I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to auditioning anyway, and we'll see what happens. I always had a lot of fun acting, and I was lucky. I got a lot of work as an actor. But that entire time, I was a shit show. I mean, I think I was probably the only YTV host of a TV show where my rider was like a 40 of whiskey and a carton of smokes. I'm almost positive. I mean, like, Sugar looked like she would fuck some shit up, but I don't know if that's what she was doing. So yeah, sober now and ready to tackle things the way maybe I always should have.
Did you
Not
find
drunk.
that all that drinking sort of affected your health, waking up in the morning, your energy levels?
Well, yeah, you can go and watch like old clips of me on TV. I think one of the ways it helped is that I'm 75 pounds lighter. So that was a huge thing. I think my liver's probably not anvil kind of hard at this point. Like, I think it's probably softened up. I don't know. It's life. You learn a lot of things, and I think it's only after 5 years of being sober what I'm learning is that it was probably self-medicating for ADHD that was never diagnosed. That's what I'm learning now, you know? So yeah, it's a journey. I think, like, I mean, it'd be nice if everything was just perfect, but I don't think that's the way it is for anybody. So I've gone through my battles, and booze and drugs. Because I tell people I'm 5 years sober from the booze, but it's not often I go, and cocaine. You know, like, so yeah, lots of booze and cocaine.
The booger sugar.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That doesn't sound appealing when you say that, but it's not appealing. You're right. It's a horrible, fun drug.
Well, it sounds expensive.
It can be, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But when you've got YTV and Disney paying for it,
And that's a few of the issues. Now that you're sober, are you finding things a little bit more constructive in the joke writing process?
well, I mean, I remember a lot more. I yeah, you know what it is that it's like when I was drunk for all that time, I was getting by on performance most of it. You know what I mean? Because I can still have fun with a crowd. But now that I'm not drunk all the time, or that's not the focus, I'm able to just, like, I think in general, I've wanted to take my career as seriously as maybe I should have for almost 20 years, you know. But not drinking gives me the ability to do that, you know. Whereas I think like if I had have never stopped drinking, I would have always just been a guy who was tertiary to comedians that I came up with. You know, like I might have been a footnote in somebody's book that I was at a table with some of the comics that I love and respect, but I was never going to do the things that I had dreamed for myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So at least not drinking gives me the opportunity to make those things happen. And then now with a great job in TV and film, I'm going to let as many people as I can believe that it's stand-up money that's dragging me all over the world doing stand-up. But very soon, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to be traveling and using grip money to do it. And I'm going to be dropping into all sorts of places to do stand-up shows that I would have never been able to do before, because I wouldn't have been doing this job if I was a drunk, and I wouldn't have the money to make things like this happen. So New York, you know, LA, Austin, the UK, these are some places where in the next couple of years, the hope is that I get to visit and start dropping some sets.
Are you thinking of checking out Edinburgh, the Fringe Festival there?
Oh, Edinburgh. Yeah, I've been to Edinburgh before and I loved it. So yeah, I'd love to go back there. And, you know, finding some comics that we came up with that are in the UK and being able to do like a co-show would be kind of fun. You know, because I would love to be able to reach out to some of them and say, you want to split on a venue. And then, you know, with Edinburgh, the most expensive thing is the staying somewhere, because it's like it's very limited in the hotels, and even the hotels are super expensive. So there's a lot of people during the festival that actually like go on vacation and will Airbnb their place because they can ask so much. So that ends up being the biggest cost for people doing shows there. And I luck out where one of my oldest friends, his wife has family there and has already said that if I'm there doing shows, I can use the guest house. So yeah, sounds sweet, like sweet digs. I can't throw I wouldn't throw I don't throw parties anymore. But just to know that like if I do the festival, one of the biggest costs is something. I even said like, can I pay you something? And she was like, they don't need your money, Ryan. They could just stay there. And I was like, I like this place a lot. So yeah, hopefully that happens at some point. I fell in love with that city. We were only there for a short time. We actually stayed in a place just outside Edinburgh called Perth, myself and some buddies. And we stayed there because it was far less expensive. And it was only like a 15-minute bus ride and really inexpensive to get to Edinburgh. So we stayed there, but then we would take the bus in. But Edinburgh is beautiful. And if you're ever there, the castle itself sits above the entire city, and the view from up there, it's something else. It's really beautiful.
And was it raining the whole time, or?
No, you get glimpses of sun every once in a while. And when the sun, you know, especially we were in Ireland, and I mean especially in Ireland because it's so green. But when there's an overcast and the sun breaks through the clouds and you're on top of, like, you know, there's such high points, the highlands or whatever. I mean, it's beautiful in its own way, you know. It's like, so it's not so many sunny days, but it's beautiful in other ways. The one thing that took a little while to get used to is they fire a cannon at 1 p.m. every day in Edinburgh from the castle, and you can tell who the tourists are because like at 1 p.m. when the cannon goes, the tourists are still jumping. You know, because it's alarming. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in the city, you hear it. And it's like, you know, the people who live there, they just ignore it. They don't even budge. But like, yeah, if you've only been there for a week or so, it's still really startling. Beautiful city. Yeah, I loved it there.
Obviously all the podcasts and recording, it's like, all right, it's 12:55, let's take a break.
Yeah, you'd have to. It's a big cannon. It's a very big, alarming cannon.
So because you're sober, I see that you're more active and you're involved in Frisbee competition.
Well, we haven't done a competition yet, but I drag any comedian I can out to play disc golf. Yeah, because disc golf is a lot of fun. And there's no bar cart girls, so I don't have to worry about somebody driving by trying to sell me booze. But it's there's free courses everywhere you go. And like, I would say to anybody, if you're looking for an excuse to go for a walk in a park and have fun, there's like 3 packs of discs you can get at Canadian Tire that aren't the best, but like you get everything you need in the 3-pack. And it's fun. There's like all sorts of courses all over everywhere. It's one of the fastest growing. Yeah, and it sounds weird, but actually on the island is probably one of the best. On the Toronto Island, they have the course there on the Toronto Island is the course they use for the Canadian Disc Golf Association Championships. So you can actually go out and play the championship course for free whenever you want. And it's on the island. So the view is beautiful. I'm telling you, it's something else. I'm bringing my discs to London so that if on the Saturday when we've got time to kill, if I can find a course, I'm going to play.
That's awesome. Have you ever run into any dogs stealing your discs?
No. We run into dogs, and every time we do, I make an effort to pet them. I'm a big dog fan. So if I see dogs, even if they want the disc, I'll make a trade. I'll give them the disc if I could just smoosh the faces and scratch the ears and say, I would trade the disc for that. Yeah. I love dogs more than people, I think.
Oh yeah. They're so lovely. Usually most of them, unless they're jerks.
You know, if they're jerks, it's just because some jerk human made them a jerk. I really think dogs are the only true pure thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on Reacher, do you have a favorite memory?
You know, actually, this is going to sound weird, but the first season, when I first started working as a grip, my first 2 weeks, I got asked to be a camera assistant for the guy who does camera stills on set, where it's his job to just capture still photography while they're shooting. But another one of his responsibilities is doing what they call a gallery shoot. And a gallery shoot is getting all of the photos of Alan that they're going to use for all of the posters and, you know, the things that go up at the bus stops and stuff like that. So for 2 weeks, we got Alan for like 3 or 4 hours a day, which sounds like a lot, but there's so many different things that they needed, products and all sorts of things. And we never really got him for too long because he'd be doing something and then he would come over and he would shoot with us. But because I was the only grip that was working on that set, and technically it's a set, I got paid as a key grip for my first 2 weeks, which is like the boss's rate, which is like something that never happens. But when we were shooting, Alan would show up on this scooter that they had bought him, and they bought him a scooter that was like way too insane. Like they could have gotten a scooter that does the 40 kilometers, that's like just basic, and that would have been perfect. And when they went out and got him a scooter, they got him like this $4,000 or $5,000 scooter that did like 90 kilometers an hour, but it was way too much. And not that he couldn't, you know, handle the scooter, but there was these we were shooting in a studio that used to be a giant Canadian Tire warehouse. So it has these tracks in the cement. And he came around the corner to do the gallery shoot, and the front tire got stuck in the track. And all 6'4.5" of them went ass over tea kettle. Like we're talking full shoulder roll off this scooter, like full somersault onto the concrete, right back up onto his feet. And he looked at everybody, and without missing a beat, he goes, "That's why I'm an action star." And he was kind of kidding. He got a huge laugh, but it was also like, yes, that is exactly why you're an action star, because you just really fucking did that. Like, to watch that much man go through the air in a shoulder roll and come up as if he had stuck the landing, like he was like Carrie Strug or whatever. And then I, of course, had to walk over and I picked him up like that coach. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he was impressive. Like he did a full shoulder roll onto cement, like from a moving scooter, got up like nothing happened, and then we shot some pictures.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. And nobody got it on camera, but it might have been the craziest stunt he did that season. Like it was nuts.
Fantastic. Well, Ryan, I could sit and listen to your stories and all sorts of your amazing experiences for a while. And I hear you're coming into town, into London.
I am, yeah. It's actually, I'll be there tonight. This comes out on Saturday, so I'll be at the London Yuck Yucks at the Hilton on Saturday night. The show starts at 7:30, so come on out. We're gonna have a really good time. I mean, it's been a while since I'd worked with Yuck Yucks, and now I'm back with Yuck Yucks and doing some headlining. So this is the first time I've headlined London. So come on out. Definitely. We're gonna have some fun.
I'm so excited to see you. It's been a minute, so I'm excited to hear some new material and everything you have for us. But thank you so much, Ryan. If you could do one last thing for me.
Of course. If
you can say it loud, say it proud. I love Newsload.
Yeah. My name's Ryan Horwood, and I love Newsload.
Thank you so much.
This is the Newsload.